Hmm. Well, it says we're live. Maybe if I don't do my iPad, maybe we'll
Maybe
see.
it'll work better.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, I was just talking when you were gone there. One guy mentioned that he loved his cars, and I was like, that's one thing. I think you can definitely say about like your channel too. Is it's like you have the Firebird and the Chevelle because they're cars that you really like.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just building them for content and trying to promote a channel or anything. So Dakota's back.
Yep. Hey, Dakota. Do we sound better?
I guess if we're not talking, he won't be able to tell us.
Well, I put a new steering box in the Firebird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one it was shot. It was done for it. It was getting really on the way home from Missouri. It was just getting really spooky,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm done. So I bought this box from Firebird Central. It's a
Mm.
close ratio. It's a
Yeah.
16-to-1 box, and they said reduced effort. Well, yeah. Well, that was kind of a BS deal there. It
Yeah.
still steers like a truck, but at least it's a precise truck. So
AT.
when you turn the wheel, it goes that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So so
T's Good Time Garage joined in. That's cool.
oh, cool.
Yeah, it was fun hanging out with him. Dude Mopar was in the first attempt at this live stream.
Oh,
T.
was he?
Yeah, he popped in. I think when you went to the bathroom. But it was so cool hanging out with all those guys. I said I thought we had the best pit spot. That was there as far
Yeah.
as like, next to Lee and Dean, and then Dude Mopar and T.
Well, next year the Chevys. I want to bring the Chevy, so
Cool. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
switch them up next year for
I would
which
love the
one?
Belvedere to be done by then, but it's going to be all the smalls that'll be killing me. Gary said he should have my 440 done by Christmas, which I kind of doubt. But if he does, I'm sure we could have the car back from paint and the engine and everything in the car. But then it's all the stuff to make it work that'll.
And that's the shit that kills you because then you're trying to make it right, and
Yeah.
and it's like trying to get it all right. Yeah,
Mm.
Dakota, you're gonna race this. You're gonna get beat by a Chevy, Dakota.
Yeah. Going hunting Trans Ams.
Yeah.
In John Wilburn's live stream, Dakota said that he raced me and blew me off the track. And I was like, "Well, he must have been fast because I don't even remember racing him."
It was just a red flash that went right past you.
Yeah, yeah.
Is Hunter
But
in here? Because he was doing a gear swap on his Star Chief.
he popped in earlier.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
You won't race it.
uh,
I might. I might race it.
yeah,
That's an automatic. It has less chance of self-destructing when I pop unlike the Firebird where I gotta dump a clutch.
yeah. That's really hard on sudden jarring of entire drivetrains is hard.
Yeah. And plus the Firebird was really unproven on I mean, it's been 200 miles, but 850 miles was a little bit. Oh, Hunter gave up with it.
Well, he is kind of weak. I could see where. Hey, John Wilburn, what's up, man?
Hey, John.
Was on John's live stream for a little while last night, and then I had to go pick up my wife's sister at the airport.
Oh,
I always say if anybody in the world needs a ride from the airport, just get a hold of my wife and she'll have me do it. So
you're the airport taxi.
random strangers, coworkers, friends of the family. Oh, Mark will pick you up.
Nice.
323.
Yeah. Yeah, I like 323s. That's a good gear.
269. Yeah, those are highway gears for sure.
Yeah, that'll make an improvement on it in the 8th mile. They
On
give a
my
little bit more.
71 Firebird, I think they were BF Goodrich tires all the way around, and they were pretty much the same width. I think they were the 26-inch tall ones. They were on the factory, like the wheels that, Dakota has on his, those
Oh,
Pontiac.
the rally wheels.
Yeah, and, it had 373 gears, and it was a four-speed, so it liked about 60 tops on the interstate.
Yeah, that was winding pretty good.
Yeah, 'cause the low profile tire or the shorter tire and everything with that gear. The 373s and the Satellite with the 28-inch tall tire, it wasn't too bad. That car's same as about like 60, 65, but when you're on the highway, like when I would take it to Mopars in the park, driving it on the highway, uh, everyone's driving like 80, 90, so they're zipping around you like crazy.
Yeah.
But out in the country, it was perfect. You didn't really notice it that bad. Hi,
How
Tim,
many
70 Freeman.
how many tenths quicker would you guess? He might be a tenth or two quicker. It's
Yeah.
hard to say. It all depends on if, it'll improve his 60 foot for
Mhm.
sure. So,
Yeah, like I said earlier, I was talking to Gary if I had gained by going to 456s, and he didn't think it would be worth the change.
what do you have in that now? 410s,
430s,
430s.
yeah, with a 29-inch tall tire.
Wonder if dropping a gear ratio would wonder if we're
Like
dropping
going
like the
down.
410. Yeah,
I
dropping
kind of
the
wondered that too, because I mean, so you wonder, like I said, the beauty of the 8 3/4. If a guy had a couple different gear sets, he could play with them, but it
yeah,
gets expensive fast. you know,
be interesting because, you'd be
'Cause my
using
car's
it.
already mile an houring really good. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm hitting 100 miles an hour in the 8, so, maybe that would get it that much more, maybe but it's a big heavy car even though it's light for a B body, it's light, but it's still a heavy car. It's,
Yeah, but
3,100.
you got cubic inches too, so
I got yeah, I'm making pretty good torque. I mean,
y
my torque curve is flat, it's pretty much just about 630 torque straight across.
yeah. So it might, the 410s might make better use of the torque,
Mhm,
um, you know, instead of, peaking it out, you might stay in the torque curve a little bit better,
mhm,
because you won't be RPMing quite as high.
mhm. Or
So,
make it back end even more,
yeah, 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 we might top end a little bit better. So, I don't know. The whole thing of it is you almost have to experiment with it and see what you can do with it.
because
And
I'm in
that's
that
just the
I'm in
thing.
that sweet spot where I think, the car's where it's gonna be, but every little just 1/10 I can squeak out of it from here on out, would be kinda cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But if the engine has to come out to be refreshed.
Then there's room for improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it might be worth trying a set of 410s in it just for shits and grins just to see what it does. Not
Yeah,
you know
I
you know,
almost think that would be a better choice than, trying the 456s, 'cause I
and
know,
you
like,
never
I've already thought about that with the Belvedere, because that's
mm,
gonna even have more torque, and it's gonna be instantaneous torque. So, I know, like, a lot of the boost guys run, like, 323s and that in the quarter mile, but that's usually turbo guys that are really making it up in the back end. But I think it's kinda the same principle.
mhm. Yeah, it might work alright.
Because
Even, you know, e
I might be fighting my gear at the end of the track, because it's getting up in that RPM range. I
but
definitely
it
gotta get shift light so that I shift at the same time each time.
yeah, that way you'll be way more consistent that way.
Mm.
And what's Hunter getting? He wants to get some aluminum heads.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Kaufman
read
or
it.
Kaufman or Edelbrock's. Hey, Terry Baker, glad you made Barker, glad you made it back over.
Well, he said something about buying the casting from Speedmasters.
Yeah.
Well, if you get the bear castings, at least you can get them and put all the good stuff in them.
Mm.
That's what a lot of guys do. They'll buy the Speedmaster ones and then just use the castings and just put all the good crap in them.
There's a head guy here that buys those Pro Comp slash Speedmaster. They did away with the Pro Comp name. It's pretty much the same, like the Victor head for the Edelbrock Victor heads for Mopars, but they're made by Speedmaster.
Hmm.
They rockers. There's a place here that buys them by the pallet, and then they've got like a CNC machine program, and then they resell them under a different name. But they say they throw away almost I forget how many percent of them due to casting flaws.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, they're
Yeah.
buying them by the pallet, and then they're finding the ones that got the casting flaws, and then like do it. So that's the only thing that scares me about your off-brand, like Speedmaster and stuff. I don't know if they've got the quality control guys that are going through them before they're sending them out, or like maybe it's different if you're buying them wholesale by the pallet. Maybe they're just like, well, this is your luck. We're not
Yeah.
going to. It doesn't go through that next step of quality control. Hopefully there's that next step. That's getting them like off the pallet and then going through them before time. But that's the
Well,
only thing I cheaper heads. And then with those you're basically buying a bare casting because you're going to
yeah.
replace every way and you're going to make sure you check your the all the guides and everything.
Well, yeah, usually the guides are junk in those things. They don't use real good guides in them.
The push rod clearance and everything. Gary totally went through my Edelbrocks on the jack pine. He said he did lightly touch them, just like a, a poor man's port, because he said
Yeah.
they're 906s. T's Good Time Garage made a question earlier about like what my car mile an hour in the quarter mile was like 122. So that's what, and I ran a 10.8.1, I think it was at 122 miles an hour.
Yeah, those Speedmaster heads are kind of any out of the box aluminum head that you buy,
Oh
it
yeah.
needs to go right to the machine shop,
Mm,
Dakota, because out of the box, I mean, they show it on all the TV shows, they just pull them out of the box and they slam them right on and then they make all this big power with them.
mhm,
But in reality, they all need to go to the machine shop and have the machinist go through them because sometimes even on the Edelbrock heads, the valve jobs are just
mm,
really piss poor,
yeah.
and then the guides are just bad, just garbage in them.
Then you drop a valve and then you're really unhappy.
Yeah. And I know that the Speedmaster heads, I know they had seat issues where the exhaust seats would actually come loose in them,
Mm.
and cause all kinds of havoc. So you got to watch that.
Well, I
But
think didn't Jed put those Edelbrock heads straight out of the box onto his Barely Cuda?
hmm, yep,
Yeah.
yep. And
And I kind of
I
wondered
mean,
about the push rod thing if he didn't have enough push rod clearance in there, but I that might have been like all boost too, like a instant
yeah.
amount of boost. But,
But Edelbrock, Brodex, AFR, they're usually the better quality heads that are much better, you
Gary
know.
said the best heads that he ever saw out of the box were my Trickflow 270s.
Yeah, that's it. They are decent. I heard a lot of good things about them,
Yeah, he
about
said
the trick
those.
players.
No, there really wasn't. For him to like whenever he looks at a head, he always sees like a little bit of something that he would want to do to him. He did uh, do a little bit of something to those too when he built that 512. But he's like, yeah, it was pretty good right out of the box as far as like the hardware that came with them and everything too. We were able to use everything, the
Yeah,
valves stuff and the
because
valves.
even the valve springs on a lot of those heads out of the box are. I know on the Edelbrock heads, you pretty much just got to change them, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, you want to
because
match anyway, but
oh yeah, you
I
want to
know like
match them to your cam.
when I ordered the trick flows, they asked you what lift a cam, because that would determine which combination of the head you would buy, to get the good uh, valve springs.
Yeah,
Which
there's
rem- Hey, we're gonna have to run the valves and stuff on my car this next year too, because for 2 years I haven't done anything to it at all except for changing the carburetor to just get it down the track. So
Yeah. Well, you got Ultradyne in that, don't you? Is
yeah,
a is it pretty tight lash on that, or
yeah. To be honest, I gotta try to find that picture of the cam card to see where it's supposed to be. But yeah, it's a pretty aggressive ramp, so it needs pretty stout springs, and that means you probably need to. I should probably have backed them off, during the winter, and then reset them in the spring. You know, they
that's
can do that, but
that's a gray area with a lot of guys too,
yeah,
you know, because some
there's
guys
guys.
say that it doesn't matter.
And Gary's like, "Well, you can, but do you want to?"
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It Then you gotta go through all the nonsense of lashing the damn things again,
Well,
which
that's one of
isn't
the
that
things
big of a deal.
I like about Gary too is he talks me out of spending money and doing crazy stuff. He's like, "Well, why would you want to do that?" Like, why'd you want to put race gas in that engine if it didn't need it? It's like running a 91. He goes, "Run on a 91, it'll be faster."
And then you kinda stand there and you just kinda feel like a dick, and it's like,
I
"Oh,
know.
man."
He goes, "It's not rocket fuel." He goes, "It's not like you're running like nitrous just by running gas, race." It's like it doesn't, it's less likely to detonate. It's
Oh, and jeez.
there's a 74.5 formula uh, in Shakopee, which is just like one town over. And after seeing Dakota's Trans Am, I'm kind of like, man,
Uh-oh.
sure would be nice to have another Pontiac, but I can't. I just miss that body style. They handle good. I mean, maybe not as good as a modern car, but better than cars back in the day.
Is it
Just a little.
nice?
It looks like it probably has the same trouble areas that a lot of them. It's not as nice as Dakota's. No,
Okay.
that's. I don't know if he realizes how clean that thing is. That's pretty.
Oh, he's telling you to buy it.
Yeah, I will if he loans me the money.
What are they asking for that?
It dropped. Originally, he was asking like 12, and now it's down to 8. So
Wow. Is it Formula 400 or
it's got the Formula hood, and it's an automatic. And I don't think it's a real Formula, but it's
okay.
got. It doesn't have the wraparound window, so I think it's a 74. I think 73 and
Yeah.
7 had the non-wraparound.
Yeah. So,
75
yeah,
had
when
the wraparound.
75 went to the wraparound.
Mhm.
That's not a bad price if it's, you know,
Yeah,
remotely straight. Even
I
if
mean,
it's just a driver, you know, you can always just beat it around. Sometimes having a non super nice car is kinda nice too, Mark. Ask me how
well,
I know.
yeah. Well, you made it nice.
I
Now,
know.
now what are you gonna do?
Park way out in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, when you took it up to that one guy's house and all the Firebirds were lined up there, I'm like, Chris's is the nicest one.
Up there to Louis'.
Yeah,
Yeah. Louis is he's a Firebird freak. He's got, oh my I think he's got 7 or 8 of them,
yeah,
all in various arrays of, completeness.
yeah.
So, but he just did that white 68 that was up there, he just did that one and, cut it all apart.
I like the 68s because I like that bumper, and it's doesn't have the corner window or the triangle
The
window.
Yeah, the vent window.
So it's kind of a nice clean look. The 69 is still one of my all-time favorites, but um, the 67 and 68s, I like them better than the Camaros.
I don't know, I go both ways.
Mm,
I go both ways with the birds.
yeah, and the Camaros you too, or
Yeah, I go both ways. I like them all. I like
yeah,
them all. they got the right look. I like them.
Well, that's the way I am. I'm not one model specific. I like, pretty much every brand. I could name one favorite, like, one of my all-time favorite cars from each muscle car group, you know? I like the Buick Skylark, like 1970 Skylarks. Um, I love the Cutlasses. I like Chevelles. I like Camaros.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah,
7 I told you about that, didn't I?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You said you
yeah,
had a 70.
dyed it black, and then, they'd painted it gray with the dual black stripes, but the stripes didn't have the pinstripe around them. It didn't have a cowl hood, and, had a black vinyl top. It was sharp, you know? It had a good body, but the 350 took a crap on me, so.
Oh,
And I had a Pontiac engine, so I traded that body with a bad engine for a '67 Le Mans, that, I had an engine for that, had a good body, so,
you just combined the two and had a Le Mans then.
yeah. But then I got poor and I had to sell the Le Mans, so I never really got to drive it, but
Oh, well,
I
that's
just
a
wanted,
bummer.
like, '67, '66 Le Mans.